This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
You know, as discouraging as the federal omnibus budget Trojan horse garbage truck bill is, there are some very encouraging things going on in the land, and one of the most encouraging things is the amazing Quebec student protest. Not everything about the Quebec protest is good. Yes, there's crazies in black clothes that break things and are violent and have allowed the critics to call the demonstrations violent. But they're the exception, not the rule. They're not the tens of thousands of ordinary, peace-loving, caring people who are marching in the streets alongside those protesters. They're probably agent provocateurs, like the ones who attended the summit in Montebello a few years ago, 5 years ago, and they were Quebec provincial police dressed up as black bloc protesters. You know, the ones who started all the fires in Toronto 2 years ago at the G20, they had some interesting boots on their feet, but the links were never proven. I'd really like to know who's turning over police cars, starting fires, and throwing bricks in Montreal. I have a feeling they're trying to make the whole movement look bad. They're certainly making it hard and dangerous for the caring, peace-loving people who are joining the students in their protest, because it's dangerous to be around these black bloc crazies. They escalate police violence, and they've given the government an excuse for its draconian Bill 78, which can cost ordinary demonstrators $5,000 apiece just for being in a demonstration. It can cost a student leader $35,000 or a union leader $125,000. And despite all these dangers, despite all this potential expense, support for this movement keeps growing and growing. It's amazing depth of support. Oh, the critics say these students have a feeling of entitlement. Oh yeah, they're entitled. Like, what's wrong with higher education? They need that higher education to get jobs and careers. Students these days are adrift on icebergs of debt and in a sea of unemployment, and we hear about entitlement. What these critics mean by entitlement is they want to get rid of government. They want to get rid of public education, public health care, environmental protection. They want to get rid of all these things, and they call it entitlement. You know, it's a very common storyline, the politics of austerity. These conservative governments come in, they cut services, they cut government, and they tell us we're entitled, but they never tell us the real reason for the economic problems they have in the first place. And there's two very simple reasons. One is they cut the heck out of corporate taxes, and the other is they've shipped all the jobs out of Canada, out of the United States, out of Greece, out of Spain, Portugal, with these corporate global trade deals. Quebec is like California is to the United States. In Canada, Quebec is our California. They lead. They are the progressives in this country, and they lead others. And citizens there are totally fed up with austerity politics. They're fed up with being told we're lazy. They're fed up with being told that we want entitlements. They're fed up with governments being bled dry by these conservative corporate types, and they totally get it. The Occupy Wall Street protesters got it, and they started a global movement. The Greek protesters got it, and they elected a new government which is very likely to pull Greece out of the EU, which famed economist Paul Krugman says might be just the thing that Greece needs. These folks in Quebec, they get it too. And I hope it's not going to be too long before people in the rest of Canada get it, that the politics of austerity are a direct threat to all of us, and they're worth getting mad about, and they're worth throwing out a bunch of governments.